What is going on, everybody? Kevin Calhoun here. Welcome to the Calhoun Show. It is late. It's a late podcast, but you can tell I got some energy, so I'm ready to go. It is 11:42 p.m. on Wednesday. What are we in? June? Yes, Wednesday, June the 14th, here in 2017, and this is a big podcast. So I didn't have time today. And then I had work tonight, so that's why this podcast is getting done super late. Not that it matters to you guys, because you're just going to listen to it whenever you get it anyway. But yeah, so doing this one late because I had a busy day. And we have a ton of stuff to talk about on this podcast. Obviously, the championship series in both the National Basketball Association and the National Hockey League have come to an end. And I, my friends, am going to start the show off by doing a little bit of gloating, because I predicted Golden State in 5 and Pittsburgh in 6. Nailed it. Moving on. No, we're going to talk about Golden State. We'll talk about the Cavs, and we'll talk Preds Penguins here on this show tonight. Plus, there's been a fight announced that is coming up in the future. We'll talk a little bit about that. The Yankees are hitting home runs every which way. We haven't talked anything about Aaron Judge on this show yet. We'll do a little bit of that tonight. Plus, I met a former Major League Baseball player the other day, which was really cool. And tomorrow, or Thursday, as you guys are listening to this today, I am pretty much meeting another famous person, maybe more. And I'm super, super, super excited about it. And I'm going to tell you guys about it. So let's get this show on the road, shall we? Let's go. Welcome aboard. It's the Calhoun Show. As always, you can follow the show on Twitter at Calhoun Show and email the show, calhounshow@gmail.com. You can subscribe to the show on YouTube and like us on Facebook. This show is available on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud. And if you use iTunes, be a pal. Leave us a nice little 5-star rating and a nice comment. It helps push the show to more people. The voicemail line's open all the time. 860-740-2119 is the number to do that. You can follow me on Twitter at ShutUpCalhoun. And you can follow our musical producer, the guy that made this lovely song, at SlapItAPatrick. And you can follow the guy that made our logo, who we had on the podcast a couple weeks ago, Mr. Andrew Schucht. You can follow him on Twitter at Andrew Schucht, SCHACHT. Was that last week I had Andy on? I can never keep track of these things. It wasn't, right? No, it was 2 weeks ago. All right, so let's get moving here. The Golden State Warriors have won the NBA championship for the second time in 3 years. If you somehow missed it, Kevin Durant is a member of that team now. Kind of relevant, kind of important as these things go. And I predicted Golden State in 5. I had it slightly wrong. I thought Cleveland would go home and win Game 3 and then drops 4 and 5 and go out that way. They did it a little backwards, where they won Game 3, or I'm sorry, they lost Game 3 and they won Game 4. And I really thought that Golden State was looking at 16-0. Once they went up 3-0, I figured Cleveland had bowed out and given up, at least on the on the. I mean, what are you supposed to do? It's 4 All-Stars and you're down 3-0. But they came out, they hit 24 threes in that game. They were lights out. It was awesome. And it gave us something to look forward to. Where we really got robbed was Game 3. And not robbed as in somebody did something against the rules or somebody did something wrong. But man, if Cleveland had won that game, I really do think we would have ended up 2-2 going back to Golden State. And we would have had a great series, possibly, but it didn't happen. Kevin Durant's getting a lot of everything now. A lot of love for his performance. He was sensational. He's the only guy in the last 8 years to lead the finals in scoring. That isn't LeBron James. He's done it twice. He did it 7 years ago, and then obviously this year, or 5 years ago, whatever year they made the finals, he did it. And he's also getting the obvious and, in my opinion, completely justified shit for being a member of this team as a guy that lost to that team last year after having a 3-1 lead on him. But guess what? At a certain point, guys, and this is the takeaway I've had from this. At a certain point, we are all going to have to move on. You can sit there, you can talk about KD and Golden State all you want, but for my money, it's over now. KD being a member of the Warriors isn't over now, but KD and that whole storyline with Oklahoma City, all of that can go away in my world, because guess what? He's on the team. He's on the team. He's going to be on the team next year. They're going to be great. They're going to be the favorites for the title. When it comes time to pick the NBA season, I'm sure my prediction will be Cleveland, Golden State in the finals, and I will pick Golden State to win the championship going into the season because they're the best team. Now, harping on why they're the best team and how they became that team, if that's something you're interested in doing, I've done it. We've all done it. We've done it over the last year. It's time to move past it. Now it's time to figure out where the NBA goes from here, because we are staring down the barrel of Cleveland Golden State again next year, and possibly the year after that, and possibly, that's where we're headed. There's a couple of outlier teams that can upset the apple cart. Obviously, there always are. The number one team on that list is Boston. I know the Western Conference has been arguably better almost every year for the last 15 to 20 years. The East is getting better, and the gap between 1 and 2 is way bigger in the West. That's the reason I say Boston's the number one threat. I don't know how many teams are an actual threat to Golden State. Currently, I think there's only one, and I'm not even sure Cleveland's that big a threat, and that can be backed up by the 5-game series that we just witnessed, right? So Boston has the pieces. They're going to get Fultz first in the draft. They're going to make a play for Hayward. The Brooklyn picks moving forward. There's a lot of things in Boston that are worth looking at as a team that could beat Cleveland in the playoffs as soon as next year. We saw a series with them this year where Boston missed a ton of open looks, a ton, that led to them losing that series against Cleveland. And were they ready to beat Cleveland? No, they weren't ready. Of course they weren't ready yet. That team is young and has a lot of growing to do. But that said, they can still compete with Cleveland as soon as next year. Who else? Who else do you look at? Go to the West, right? San Antonio. Maybe San Antonio's that team. Who knows what San Antonio is? Tony Parker. Is he going to be healthy? Eventually we're going to have to see. It's so tough. I want to talk about the upcoming free agents. That's kind of where I'm leading this into, because the NBA now has a different set of rules. And I don't mean that words were changed in a contract, but this whole super team thing, it's going to start going away. And it's not going to start going away because teams are going to stop building around the fact that they have, great players that want to play together. That's going to still happen. But they're not going to be as super as these super teams that we're seeing right now, because there is more and more talent coming into the league every day. That's the overwhelming fact here. Players are training differently. They're learning differently. They're playing the game differently. They shoot threes all the time. They shoot from everywhere. And it's understandable, and they should be doing it. But if you are going to hate on the Warriors for what they did, relax. Cleveland can only do so many things to get good enough to beat Golden State. I don't know what those things are, but they have to do something. Are they going to be able to do it? We'll find out. Golden State's going to reload. They're going to lose a bunch of guys off of this team. But when you're Golden State, you're going to get a whole lot of bench players that are really good that are that are going to be willing to play pretty cheap. They really are. So, we'll see. It depends on, obviously, we have to find out what Steph's going to fetch here and see what kind of money is left over after that. Technically, he's a free agent. The other ones are Lowry in Toronto. I'm just going to sort this by points per game. Lowry and Toronto, Gay, Gallinari, Millsap, D. Rose, George Hill, Waiters, Drew Holiday, Jeff Teague, JJ Redick, Serge Ibaka, Tim Hardaway, Zach Randolph, Otto Porter, CJ. Like, there are a bunch of players on this list that can play. They really can. And they're going to change a team or 2 or 5 or 10. These guys are going to change teams around, and we're going to see different things out of these different teams. And I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know, that players change teams in the offseason. My whole point is the NBA will mold to what Golden State just did. They're going to mold to it, and the NBA is going to change. I don't know if Golden State is a year away from losing. I don't think so. I think they probably win the championship next year. It's hard to argue against them winning. Now, we don't know about injuries, and those are obviously the most important thing. But I don't see any team close enough to beat that. I don't know what Cleveland can do. A lot of people speculate that it's trade Kevin Love. And you did that. You traded for him. You traded Anthony Wiggins away. So if you need a Wiggins-type player, then oops, because that didn't work out. I like Kevin Love. I think Kevin Love's a really good player. I had an argument with Dan Conde the other night about Kevin Love versus Klay Thompson and who you'd want to start your team with. And I'm curious where you guys are at with that, because we were completely diametrically opposed on this. If I was starting a team, I'd start it with Klay Thompson. He would start it with K-Love, and I'm curious where you guys are at. So tweet at me or at the show, at Calhoun Show, and let me know, K-Love or Klay Thompson. But anyway, I don't know if the league can mold quickly enough to beat Golden State next year, but it's going to happen. And eventually the money's going to turn the other way, and this Golden State team won't be able to stay together because you can't pay 4 guys the whole salary. You gotta find 8 other players to fill out the 12-man roster. But congratulations to Golden State. It was a fun series to watch. It was the best basketball I've ever watched. What Golden State did. I mean, they were incredible. You got to give the credit on that front. They were great. They move the ball well. They're selfless. For the most part, they keep themselves out of trouble at going to the line or putting the other team on the line. And I don't know. I was impressed. I wasn't as upset about it. I really couldn't stand the whole KD to Golden State thing last year. And if you had asked me when it happened, if I would have been upset the day they won the title, I mean, I wasn't going to be crying about it, but I'm sure I would have been like, yeah, fuck those guys. Like, yeah, I don't want any part of that. I didn't really get that much. I do, however, this is the biggest problem I have. This is the one thing I can't understand. So between my ride to work and my ride home from work today, I dialed up the old Bill Simmons podcast because he interviewed KD. I think it was last night. Yeah, because it was the night after the championship game in Game 5. And it was a long interview, and it was a really good interview. And they'd done a couple of them in the last year that were great. But I was really excited to listen to this one because it's our first time getting to hear KD in a long-form interview where it's kind of relaxed and it's chill. But now he's a champion. It's the first time hearing that version of KD in that format. And he was great. He talked about joining the team. He talked about how long it took for the team to mesh and the bench guys and who the guys in the locker room were that brought the team together. And the feelings of winning and all of those things. And all of it sounded great and it all made a lot of sense. And it was cool to get that inside perspective on it. The part I don't get, and maybe I'm completely off on this, because Kevin Durant just won an NBA championship for the first time in his life. He won the Finals MVP. He was fantastic. He was a part of a team that went 16-1, obviously, in the playoffs. And all of that's great. And all of us are sitting here going, yeah, well, I mean, look around. Look at the team. And he was talking a lot in this interview about the fact that everyone's saying these things, but, winning a championship is hard and it takes a lot. He talked a lot about that. I get it. I agree with all of it. But Kevin Durant has to be like the least self-aware guy ever. Like, he has to be. Or he's completely aware of how everybody's looking at it, and how everybody else looks at it, that's the wrong way to phrase it. How does he not look at it that way? Honestly, how do you not sit down and just personally say, yeah, I mean, I left my team to come to a better team to try to win a championship. That's what he did. I don't have a problem with it. Players have been doing that forever. They've been doing it forever. There's no issue with it. But, you know, this isn't an underdog story. And to me, he kind of sold it that way in a lot of respects. You know, yeah, we got 4 All-Stars, but, you know, this, and that. The media. You can get on the media as much as you want. You knew the day you were going to sign in Golden State that the media was going to be on your ass, even up to and through winning a championship. So the surprise and the shock of that can't be as surprising as people are acting like it is, and as much as KD acted like it was. So I like Kevin Durant a lot. I've liked him every time I've heard him speak. Between the great MVP speech and the words he said the other night after the game, and honestly, 95% of the interview with Simmons, and both of the interviews he did with him last year. But that part kind of miffs me. I'm not going to get on him for Jordan Golden State anymore. I don't care about any of that. But you got to be honest. Got to be honest with everybody, because this is like a unanimous decision. Like, everybody's like, yeah, I mean, we don't really want him to go there, but we get it. I mean, I get it, but I don't know. To act like, you know, this team persevered. You have 4 of the best 12 players on the planet. You really do. You have 4 of the top 12 players on the planet. This team did win a championship. That's really difficult to do. You had 4 of the fucking top 12 players on the planet, though. Let's relax. Let's relax on persevering, huh? All right, let's talk a little hockey.
The Calhoun Show.
So for the second straight year, my Pittsburgh Penguins have won the Stanley Cup. High five. All right. So it was great. It was a lot of fun to watch. I thought they'd win in 6. It seemed unlikely with the defensive core that the Penguins were running out on the ice every night. But Mike Sullivan knows how to coach, and this team knows how to win. And if you're not a hockey fan, and I say that a lot when I talk about hockey on the show, because there are a lot of people that listen to this show that aren't big hockey fans. I got to tell you guys, and every non-Penguin fan, by the way, that's about to hear this is going to puke in their soup, and they're going to hate me and whatever. I don't care. We're going to talk about it anyway. If you're not watching hockey, you don't have to start. I'm just going to tell you, you're missing watching one of the best players of all time. Because we are now at the point where Sidney Crosby is in the conversation for best top 10, top 5 players on the planet. I mean, he's unbelievable. He's unbelievable. He's the first guy to win back-to-back Conn Smythe trophies since Mario Lemieux did it. He's got 3 Stanley Cup. I'm just blown away. I really am. I'm blown away by the number of things that this guy has accomplished. I really am. I mean, what's he got? He's got 3 cups. Rocket Richard, right? MVPs. 2 Conn Smythes now. 2 or 3 Olympic golds. World Junior gold. World Championship gold. Golden goal in the Olympics in Vancouver. He's done a lot. And it's time to start considering up there. And I heard, so this made me laugh. I was listening to Jeff Merrick and Greg Wyshynski on MVSW, and they were discussing where Sid ranks all time. And the question was top 5, right? Because it's hard to argue. It really is. I mean, if you want to argue with me that Sidney Crosby's not a top 10 player of all time right now, we can have that conversation. But I mean, this is unbelievable. It really is. The guy's 29? He's born in 87. He's less than a year older than my sister. Like, come on now. This is silly. But the question that Jeff and Greg were raising was, all right, so you if you consider him top 5, right? If you consider him top 5, where does he fall in? So you have Orr, Gretzky, Lemieux, right? Those are in 1, 2, or 3, whatever the order is. That's it. So they were starting to question who is the greatest Penguin of all time. So I'm not going to dive into this because I know that there are people in Pittsburgh right now listening to this and screaming or pulling their hair out because this is not a conversation they're willing to have. I'm not saying I'm willing to have it either. And I'm not willing to have it for one reason. I didn't watch Mario Lemieux play. I didn't watch any of it. I didn't watch one Mario Lemieux game on TV in my life. A, because I wasn't a hockey fan until like 2008. And B, no, that's it. That's the whole reason. I didn't watch hockey basically my whole life until I committed to go to school in Pittsburgh or decided I was thinking about going to school in a couple different hockey places, Pittsburgh being one of them. Started watching the Penguins, watched their cup run in 07-08 when they lost to Detroit. I was in love from that point on, and I've spent the last 8 or 9 years learning the sport, trying to learn the history of the sport. I've seen a ton of Mario footage. I've seen a ton of Gretzky footage. All of that stuff aside, I don't think I'm ready to have that conversation because I don't think I'm qualified for it. Here's what I do know. I have heard a lot of very smart people and read a lot of very smart people over the last 9 years argue not Sid versus Mario, but Mario versus Wayne in as far as pure talent goes. And Jeff Merrick said, for my money, the most purely talented hockey player I've ever seen was Mario Lemieux. Gretzky was phenomenal. If you look, I know Gretzky has the points, and he has it by a gajillion. Mario missed a lot of time. If you look at the points per game, I think it's something around Gretzky had 1.93 and Mario had 1.89. It was somewhere around there for their career, points per game. It's pretty damn close. It's closer than people give Mario credit for. So the Sid versus Mario stuff, you can argue it if you want. That's fine. I'm curious to see where some of you would come down on that. One person in particular, and she knows who she is, and everybody that knows her knows who she is. Sarah, where are you at on this? I need an email on Sid versus Mario. I don't know if you've considered this or not, but I'm curious on a couple of different people's take on that. So if you have an opinion on either that or Klay Thompson versus Kevin Love, anybody, tweet us at Calhoun Show or email the show, calhounshow@gmail.com. All that said, the Penguins were great. Sid deserved the Conn Smythe. I know you could argue Gino, just like you could argued Kessel last year, but anybody that watches the Penguins enough or reads about the Penguins enough or listens to Mike Sullivan talk or listens to players on that team talk know that when you talk about the Conn Smythe Trophy, which is the playoffs' most valuable player, you give it to the best team's most valuable player. That best team was the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the best player on that team is Sidney Crosby. And not only is he the best player, he's the most valuable one. That team doesn't win a cup without him. Doesn't win a cup without Gino either, probably, but it doesn't win the cup without 87. This year, maybe if you restructured the team without 71, maybe, probably not. Gino's a top 100 player of all time, although some people will tell you otherwise. Those people are wrong. So, 87 was the Conn Smythe winner. Should have been. Moving on. Now we're going to talk about a couple of guys that I love and that have one of them has this has been a heartstring tugging thing for the last 2 years, and that's the Penguins goaltending situation. And it's going to work itself out, thank God, and hopefully it works out for everybody involved. And I'm obviously talking about Marc Andre Fleury. If you are unaware, here's the story. And I don't mean unaware of the Fleury-Murray thing. I'm not going to go through that whole thing. But Marc Andre Fleury waived his no-move clause and is more than likely headed to the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, I have been to something like 7 or 8 Penguin games in my life since 2008. And Marc Andre Fleury started all but one of them, I believe. So I've seen him play in person a lot. I was a Penguin fan in 2009 when they won the Cup, and he made the save with 4 seconds left to win the Stanley Cup. I was in attendance with college girlfriend in 2011 when he made an unbelievable couple of saves against Tampa Bay. I saw him make a great save against Ottawa one year when he was flopping around on his back when we were at a game. And he's had an amazing Penguins career. And the fact that Jim Rutherford and the entire Penguins front office handled this season the way they did is really a testament to the organization. It really is. And if you're unaware, basically what happened was, because Fleury has a no-move clause, he was not eligible to be put in the Las Vegas expansion draft. Now, the way this expansion draft works is you can protect a certain number of players, and you can only protect one goaltender. Now, by virtue of that no-move clause, the Penguins would have been forced to protect Fleury, thus exposing their now two-time cup-winning rookie goaltender Matt Murray to the Vegas expansion team. That obviously was something the Penguins were not going to let happen. So the way a partial no-move clause works, which is what Marc Andre Fleury has, is he is allowed to write down the names of 12 different teams that he cannot be traded to. The Penguins, however, are free to trade him to the, let's test my math skills, remaining 17 teams in the league. Those teams are all fair game to trade for Fleury to. The Penguins, if Fleury did not agree to do what he did, would have aggressively found a deal for him during the season. They would have moved him. They would have had to have moved him. Otherwise, they, again, would have been risking their 23-year-old stud goalie. And he went to the team and he said, listen, I want to be a part of this team. There's going to be a potential another cup run here. I will waive the no-move clause and expose myself to Vegas so you can protect Matt if you keep me around. Which the Penguins, that had to have been the easiest decision of all time. Yeah, we keep the best goaltender in franchise history. He gets along with this kid that we are molding for our future, and we can use them as a tandem tag team to win back-to-back cups and get integral play out of both of them. Now, they didn't plan for that. They figured Murray would start all the way through, but boy, did they get it. Thank God they got it. And they got it because Marc Andre Fleury did that for that team. So I'm going to miss Fleury a lot, and I wish him success, whether he ends up in Vegas or there's a couple other places being speculated about, Calgary, Buffalo. There's options. He'll end up somewhere else, and hopefully, with Vegas he'd get to start, which would be great. But I hope he succeeds, and he should. He's talented, and he's been a blast to watch as a Penguin fan. So that was a lot of fun. But no, this Penguins team was great, and they are poised. They really are. Now, back-to-back is very difficult to do. It's a ton of hockey to play in a calendar year. 3 times in a row, it's going to be nearly impossible. That's a ton of hockey. It's a ton of hockey over a few years. But if there's an NHL team that just wins on a professional level, that is capable of going 3 in a row, this might be it. This is a very professional hockey team. They have guys that go out there and get things done. And not only do they do that, you have your Hornquists of the world who are going to score the game-winning goal, the grit guy that's going to be down by the net. You have the just all-world talent that is Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin and Phil Kessel, and a great young goalie in Matt Murray. You get all of those things, but you also get young talent. You get Connor Sheary, you get Jake Gensel, you get Brian Rust, Tom Kuhnhackl, right? Look at the defensive end. Look at the back end. Oli Mata found his game in the last month or two. He was great. And they did all of it without Chris Letang. That's the craziest part. They did the whole thing without Letang. And he'll be back. He'll be back next year. And now they're probably going to lose Cullen to retirement. Might lose a guy or two in the draft to Vegas if Fleury doesn't go. Hagelin, Dumoulin, these are options. These are options for Vegas guys the Penguins probably won't be able to protect all of. But that said, the Fleury contract will be moved. That's almost $6 million off the books to reload, find some more guys, maybe add a defenseman. The Penguins are a really, really solid, well-built team, and Credit to Jim Rutherford. Did a kick-ass job. Did a really kick-ass job building this team. All right, guys. This is going to be super exciting. I promise this is going to last less than 1 minute. Relax. It's going to get annoying, but it's going to last less than a minute. You ready? Sound the alarm! Oh, that's right. 2 weeks in a row for the Odell Beckham alarm. So last week we talked all about Odell Beckham and how he doesn't show up to things and he doesn't do this and he doesn't do that and the contract negotiations and everything's falling apart in New York. What are we going to do? Odell Beckham's going to leave us. Turn off that stupid alarm. He's not going anywhere. Watch his press conference. He shows up. They're like, Odell, is this contract related? Was it all about the contract? No, I was just training in LA. Are you mad at the Giants? Is this an issue moving forward? No, not really. Are you going to hold out? No, holding out doesn't work for anybody. I'm not going to do that, Time will come. But we made this big story. We made a big story about you, Odell. We were all mad. We were so frustrated, and we all talked about it. And now you're just here on time to a mandatory event, and you didn't show up to a non-mandatory one. How dare you? Unbelievable. We just overreact. We overreact to everything. It's amazing. It really is. All right. I'm going to make a promise to you guys. I'm not going to play the Odell Beckham alarm until he makes a ridiculous play on the field. That's my promise. Try and hold me to it. We'll see what happens. All right. It is way past midnight. I'm getting loopy. We got a couple more things to do, and then we'll wrap it up here. This is the Calhoun Show.
The Calhoun Show.
All right, so we got a couple things to get to, and then we'll wrap it up. And by wrap it up, I mean I'm going to upload this and then go to sleep. Yep, that's about it. So I got a couple of cool things that we got to talk about here. Number one, it looks like there's a fight, ladies and gentlemen. August the 26th, Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather will fight at the T-Mobile Arena at 154 pounds in a boxing match. Floyd has filed 5 trademarks for the phrase 50-0. If you're not a boxing fan, he's currently 49-0, and he's going to box a UFC fighter. Now, I am excited. Some of you might roll your eyes and say, this is a money grab. Yep. Some of you might say, buying this pay-per-view is just going to put more money in Floyd Mayweather's pocket. Yes, correct. I'm not going to give him all my money. I'm just going to invite a bunch of people over and chip in 10. But either way, I'm watching this damn fight because 2 things are going to happen. 3 things, I'm sorry. There are 3 options for things that could happen. Number 1, the most likely of options. Floyd Mayweather is impossible to hit for Conor, and it's kind of silly, and it lasts for a while, and maybe Floyd, dodges and tags him enough times that after a while, Conor just doesn't have enough, and it finishes or it gets 12 rounds, but it's a runaway. Okay. That's exactly what I expect to happen. Number 2, second option. Conor makes it close, and it does go 12. The first option might go the full distance, but might be a finish. Second option, Conor has a decent showing and loses in a decision. It's great for Conor. It's awesome. Here's number 3. Here's what I'm rooting for. Conor hits harder than anybody Floyd's ever fought before, finds his chin one time, and knocks his old ass out. Hell yeah. Count me in on that one. I love it. Can't wait for this. It's only positive things for Conor and negative things for Mayweather if he gets tagged. And anything negative that happens to Floyd Mayweather is fine by me. Very happy this fight's going to happen. A couple of baseball things I want to mention here. Number 1, shame on the Angels fans for not showing up to a Yankee game because that looked like Yankee Stadium West. Dan Hanzus tweeted that out, which is a good line. The other night when Judge hit the big home run. And we're going to talk a little more baseball as the summer gets here now that basketball and hockey have ended. Baseball is going to be fun, especially around here because I'm in between Boston and New York, and the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry is, I mean, people will tell you it's dead. It's not dead. It just, neither team has been, there hasn't been any reason, if each team keeps going out and buying $200-300 million payrolls and there's no blood rivalry there, then it's just not going to happen. But right now you're looking at a Red Sox team with Xander Bogaerts, Jackie Bradley Jr., Mookie Betts, these are homegrown Red Sox guys. And obviously you still have Dustin Pedroias of the world, but these are homegrown Red Sox guys. The Yankees, Hicks, Judge, Didi Gregorius, Brett Gardner, these are fun teams, and they should be fun for the rest of the year. They're really. I missed Gary Sanchez. Gary Sanchez. These are going to be fun teams for the rest of the year. The Red Sox should cut Pablo Sandoval, by the way. But that's going to be good. My Mets are not as much to write home about right now. Matt Harvey got a ball hit by Kyle Schwarber tonight that I don't think is ever going to land. I know people make that joke. Oh, it hasn't even landed yet. It's never coming down. It's just gone. It entered orbit, and it's like the Bonds 756 ball or whatever number that was. Is it 756? If I got that right, I need to go to bed because I am working on a whole nother level. Either way, baseball's fun. The baseball is fun this year, and it's worth checking out. I saw a story quickly. I probably should have mentioned this with the Golden State Cleveland stuff when we were talking about it earlier. I saw a story from Woj that said belief around the NBA is that it is very much in play that LeBron would leave Cleveland. Okay. I mean, whatever. I'm not having that conversation. I wanted to mention it. I didn't want anybody to think I missed it. I'm not having that conversation. If LeBron leaves the Cavs, we'll react to it when it happens, but I'm not doing that. That's it. I'm done talking about it. Until it's an actual real story, I'm never talking about LeBron leaving the Cavs. Done. Moving on. So I have a couple of quick, cool, personal work stuff to tell you guys about, and then I'm going to call it a night. So I got to meet a former pro baseball player and a guy that I got to see pitch as a kid, somewhere between being like 7 and 12, because those were the years he was in Boston. So the team that I work for, the Bridgeport Bluefish, here in Connecticut. And if you're new to the podcast, I am the on-field host and MC for the Bluefish. So I'm the guy on the field with the microphone yelling to the crowd, getting them pumped up, playing games, playing songs, and promoting different things that we're doing at the field, all that kind of stuff. So I knew this going in, that our pitching coach was none other than Rich Garces, El Guapo, who played for the Red Sox, among other teams in his baseball career. And I got to meet him yesterday, and it was really cool because he walked by, and I knew who he was, obviously, but I wasn't going to interrupt his day. But I run in front of his dugout like 400 times a night with a microphone. So he knew who I was just from that. And he walked by, he gave me a head nod, and I popped my headphones out and talked to him for a minute. It was really cool. It was really cool to meet him. And here's the other one, and this is to people in Connecticut. If you are in Connecticut, and you are listening to this podcast on Thursday, and it is not yet like 5 p.m., okay? If you're with me so far, go to Bridgeport tonight. On Thursday night, go to Bridgeport. Come see the Bluefish play. We're playing the Lancaster Barnstormers. The Bluefish are going for the 3-game sweep. More importantly, well, not more importantly, but just as importantly, and this is exciting for me. So you guys know... if you've listened, and there's a handful of you, and I mean a handful, like 5, but there's a few of you who have listened to every episode. Maybe there's more, I don't know, that have listened to every episode of this podcast. And if you've been around since the beginning of this show, maybe not listen to every episode, but if you've heard the first one or you've heard me talk about it here and there since then, there is one show that I turn to, and more importantly, one guy that does this that I always have taken my cues from on how to do things. And I don't know if I'm going to get to meet him tomorrow. I don't know if he'll be there, but one of his guys definitely will be, and I think more than one. Very exciting. The Dan Patrick Show has a game that they play, and it's called the Wheel of Punishment. So on the Wheel of Punishment, did I talk about this? I didn't talk about this. So on the Wheel of Punishment, they put a whole bunch of punishments, and it's just like Wheel of Fortune. And if you spin the wheel, whatever it lands on is what you have to do. And the Wheel of Punishment comes in when guys on the show make bets with each other and they don't pay off. So I believe the bet that McLovin made was that Deshaun Watson would be a top 2 pick in the draft. And he made that bet about a year and a half ago, something like that. Nonetheless, after the bet was made, they said, all right, if you get it wrong, it's a wheel of punishment. So a year later, whatever it was, Deshaun Watson gets picked, but he gets picked, 25? I wonder if I got that right. I'm just naming stuff. 756 and 25. Those are the numbers I'm going with. If I got both of them right, somebody buy me something. Buy me a cookie or something. I deserve it. So anyway, McLovin makes the bet. Doesn't happen. Doesn't come true. One of the options, and now I follow the Dan Patrick Show on Twitter. I never get to watch their show. At least I didn't before. I guess I could now because I have mornings off because I work mostly, obviously, for a baseball team at night. So I never got to watch their show working at the lumberyard where I was, or working for my dad 4 or 5 years ago, or being in college. I've been listening and watching this. I've been listening to the show in podcast form for a very long time, the Dan Patrick Show. So, but I do follow them on Twitter, and whenever they post videos to their Twitter page, I almost always click on it because I don't get to watch the show, but I do hear it a lot. So it is cool to kind of get the visual side of it, and if they play games and do stuff like that. But they put up a video of McLovin spinning the wheel of punishment. That is something I'm 100% going to click on when I'm going through Twitter. So I click on it, and one of the options, and you guys will be able to figure out where this is going pretty quickly. I didn't right away. I didn't know. So one of the options on the wheel of punishment is throwing out the first pitch at a baseball game left-handed. So that option comes across, and I didn't even think twice about it because these guys have done Wrigley. They've been everywhere. So they did the take me out to the ball game. I think they threw out the first pitch at Wrigley. Like, these guys have been everywhere. They know what they're doing. I'm thinking Yankees, Mets, Red Sox, something like that. So then all of a sudden, the term minor league or independent league or whatever it is comes out. And now I'm listening. Now I'm paying attention, because when I drive to work every day, I'm on I-95, and I get on I-95 in New Haven, Connecticut, and I drive south on 95 for about 20 minutes, and I always drive through Milford, Connecticut. And I know that the Dan Patrick Show films their show in their quote-unquote, what they call it, their Milford Man Cave. So it's pretty close. And now I'm thinking, all right, we're talking minor league, we're talking independent league. Now we're starting to talk up Kevin's alley. Now we're starting to get back a little close to home here. And unbeknownst to me, literally the words Bridgeport Bluefish came out of Dan Patrick's mouth. And I am sitting there going, oh my God, I can't wait for this. So he lands on minor league baseball. He is coming tomorrow night, Thursday night. McLovin, Andrew Perloff from the Dan Patrick Show will be in attendance and will be throwing out the first pitch left-handed. I will 100% be escorting him to the mound. I'm hoping to get to introduce him. I tried to put that plan in motion already tonight at work. Normally during the pregame stuff, I take care of the anthem people because it's a wireless mic, and it's the same mic that I have throughout the game. So they need somebody to kind of direct them and let them know where to stand and where to face the flags in left field. So you got to face the flag, wait for my cue. I'll turn the mic on, do all that stuff. It's not a hard job, but it's, it makes sense that I'd be the one doing it. But I for sure put in the old request today to say, hey, let's give somebody else the microphone for the anthem, or I can take care of it after. But I would sure like to walk McLovin out to the mound and that kind of stuff. I've been a fan of their show for a very long time, and it's going to be really cool to get to meet at least one of the guys with McLovin. If I had to guess, I would guess that Seton will be there. He's a big Yard Goats guy. That's another minor league team up here. If you've never heard of the Yard Goats and that was the first time you've heard that term before, I'm sorry. It's a baseball team we have, apparently. Seton's a big Yard Goat guy. I'm hoping Dan comes and sees the game, or at least they come for the first pitch. But if you're not in Connecticut and you don't get to come to the game, set your DVR between 9 and noon on Friday morning, or if you're up, just turn on the Dan Patrick Show, and hopefully they take video. I'm sure they will. And I'm gonna try to get in there and take McLovin out to the mound and let him throw and be a part of it, because it's a show I've loved for a long time, and I'm super excited about it. This is something I certainly didn't expect to happen this year, was getting a chance to be even in a tiny way, involved with my favorite show, and I think the first name I mentioned on this podcast, as far as people that I listen to and respect and look up to, was Dan Patrick. So it's really exciting, and I can't wait. That said, it's late as shit, and I need to go to sleep because it is going to be a fun day tomorrow, and it's going to be a late one tomorrow night at the old stadium. So. Guys, thank you so much. I'm sorry about that. Thank you so much, as always, for the support. I grabbed the mic. I don't know if it made a horrible sound in your ear. It made a horrible sound in my ear. If it didn't to you, then that apology rang on deaf ears, if that makes sense. I need to go to sleep. We're done. I'm glad I did this tonight, though. I didn't want this one to be late. I'm sorry last week's was late. These last couple weeks have been crazy. But I'm glad this one's going to be up on time. So that much is good. That much is good. I'm done. I'm out. All right, guys. I love you. I'll talk to you next week. Come to the Bluefish game if you're in Connecticut tomorrow night. Otherwise, enjoy the U.S. Open this weekend. Should be a lot of fun. Enjoy the baseball. And I will talk to you guys next week. Later.
Thank you for listening to The Calhoun Show. Join the conversation by following the show on Twitter @Calhoun Show and emailing the show at calhounshow@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, and don't forget to subscribe and download for free on iTunes. Want to hear yourself on the show? Leave us a voicemail by calling 860-740-2119.